So we're out and about and decided I was going to film the intro to the rear swing away, how I made it. So it's been on the car for about 6 months now. It's worked perfectly, haven't had a problem. Obviously I haven't had the winch hooked up because eventually I want to put it on the SY, not the SX. The recovery points are there. It swings, opens just like it should. It just swings open. Everything works as it should. So it's a bit of a boring video. If you want to see how I made it, that's what's coming up. They're pretty easy and you can do them different ways. You can do them with the tow bar, without the tow bar. I'll explain all that in there. So I'll quickly run through some of the stuff for it. This is like a trailer stub axle, and it comes with like dust covers and bearings. You buy these off eBay, they're quite cheap. Pretty much the bearings just go on. You'd have to grease them all up first. Bearings go in, washer, nut, split pin, cover, and you weld that into the swing away main part, and then you weld the actual arm, swing away arm, onto this. So that makes that part nice and simple. The latch, this time I didn't want a crappy latch like I got on the other SX Territory. I wanted a decent overslung clamp, latch, whatever you want to call it. I'm not running a tow ball, so I've got some 10mm steel here that I was going to make like some recovery points, like 2 recovery points, normally where the tow ball mounts. I'll show you that when I get out to the car, but that's that. For the main part, I've got, it's 100 by 50, and that's what I was going to build the main sort of lower structure out of, the actual bumper bar type thing. I was going to do a swing away arm out of 75 by 50. So at the bumper on, you can sort of see roughly where I want to bring it. I'm going to bring it out somewhat squarish, do 2 bends, then come along, down. Around our 2 bits, still hot. This is what I got, 2 bolts. It's marked out. I'm gonna have to cut this on a slight angle just because of how it steps like that. So they're cut and drilled now. So they'll bolt on there next. Now, if you're keeping the tow bar, you'd undo those, bolt this there, and then you'd start building your swing away bumper off that. But I'm not using this, so I'm going to unbolt this now, and then I'm going to bolt the 2 brackets on, and then go build in the middle section, and then I'll build the sides off that. So to make it work, I actually had to do a small bit of reshaping of it. That one's pretty even. So you can see it clamped on, and the idea is I can bend that now to there, tack it there, do the same there, and that should be on my bend, and it should be nice and level and straight. So that's not too bad. There's the centre. That's going to be rough fitting my curb. And that's roughly how it's going to sit. Not the best day for welding outside, but bring the welder out anyway. Tuck the bar on. So I welded that all up. Ground back some of my welds, make them neat. Next is drill the hole for the recovery point, and I'm going to cut the bracket down so it's nice and neat. So then brackets are cut out. That's my recovery point, one each side. So I think my next step is going to be cut the bumper a little, try and get that fitted on there, so then I can decide what I'm going to bend around the sides here. So now I've got to work out from there. Measured and cut this one. I'm just going to put it on here and bend it around to the same shape. So I started to go around the side, come off the recovery point bracket sort of thing, started bending around sides. I am going to bring a piece up on the angle as well, and then when I get around here, what I've done was bung it around, and then I wanted to step it down a little just to give it some shape. You can sort of see, probably best not to look at me well, but grinder fixes everything. You see that's one side. There's the other side. Now you can see down in here, put some extra bracing. Still got to finish welding it off, but there's another bolt hole there. So I'm going to weld that one in there. Got these two here where the winch are going to be, just for extra support where the winch is. And got another one down there. So by the time I do that, the ones on the side, the ones I'm going to put at the front as well, it's going to be there pretty bloody solid. Back in the shed now. Now that somewhat resembles a bar. Next I'm going to do little things like I'm going to add that piece in. So this is my infill piece. Here. I didn't film it, but I added in the little tabs on the side like I did there. It's just add a smooth layer of bog put over it, just a real small layer, just to even out a couple of things. The Raptor liner will fix it. I cut in the bit for that, for the winch. Cut it out, reinforced where the bolts go. And if you can see it on the back. Yeah. So that's where the winch will go. What I'm going to do next is I also cut it off where it needed to be at the end, flush with the wheel arch at the moment. Not 100% too sure as to say what I'm going to do at the ends yet, because I'm going to end up putting the flares and stuff, so I might adjust them when I go to do that. But that's pretty much the bottom bit built. Next is just the arm. So I want to fit it to the SX first. So what I've done is, on the bar out the back, I've got some measurements. So you want to measure, this bar wasn't cut perfectly, it was just cut rough. So if you do a bar like this, get another rear bar just as a template that you can cut up, and if you make it wrong, it doesn't matter. I've now marked it out on the SX bumper. It sits a little bit higher than my old one, but in saying that too, it's thicker than the old one, so it should end up roughly in the same spot. But I'm going to quickly pull this bumper off now, cut it, put this pinch weld back on it at the new height, because that just cleans it up. So I probably should mention, for the people who haven't seen my old one, I mounted it the same as what I've mounted this new one, but less, because I've got more support and more mounting points on the other one, because I haven't got the tow bar. But yeah, it's as simple as 2 bolts there, and then everything's built off that. 2 bolts there next to the tow bar, 2 bolts there. Obviously the new one mounts in under there, mounts in under here, and then I'll return it back in under there. But yeah, this gives an idea if you want to retain the original factory tow bar, that you can do it like this. And of course you can use thinner steel. This thing's been on here a couple of years now and it's never let me down. Got it on there. Doesn't quite work with the SX due to the sides, as you can see where I cut. But yeah, looks good. A few adjustments and it'll be right. So starting to build the front, or sorry, starting to build the swing away arm. So I actually forgot to friggin' pick up the GoPro, but anyway, I get carried away and just want to do things at times. But that's how that's going to mount. That's the actual swing away bit. Now I got that by marking rough measurements on another piece. off the one out the front. So we take this, another wonderful Queensland sunny day. So that's it's a nice and flush. I've got these off my press, and that's how much space I'm going to have between it. Works out pretty good to the bottom of that, and it gives me enough to shampoo the top of that to give the bar. See the bar in there? Gives it a bit more clearance. So I marked top, front, and I've drawn my other line here of where I'm going to put the bend. So here's the hard question. Where are we going to mount the wheel? To one side. Remember, I'm only doing the wheel, I'm not doing tanks. Well, I'm thinking I might put it, I reckon we put it closer to the middle. Just maybe not quite there, a bit back. Something like that. There's the center. And then, unlike the other one, because you lose a lot of your back window, so unlike the other one, I'm going to try and keep the wheel just a little bit lower, still not to stuff the approach angle, departure angle. We use a broom. You say your departure angle and your wheels up is like that. So that's the lowest point of the bar. That's where it's going to keep up. So the wheel's got to be higher than this. Now I actually had to think a lot harder about this than I wanted to. If I cut that, that should bend out. For the height, the wheel's going to sit just down here, be out of the way of the winch. Doesn't stuff the departure angle. That's going off this 265 tyre. So that part's done. Next up, I'm going to cut out the bit to mount the wheel. So I found a bucket that was pretty much the perfect size for the wheel, and then I've traced it onto some steel. So next I'm going to cut out that, and I've started with me bracket for the back bit. Let's do like that. Worked out the handle and trim that so it's nicer rather than straight edge. And cleaned up the edge. Weld that on. So yeah, it's on. So we welded that all up. That's welded on. And done the same to the hub part. It's all welded on. So it's got a cap that goes over that. And I got to grease the bearings. Latch works. So you unlatch it and then away it swings. We're about to start painting. So we got the Raptor. You put the hardener in. So your hardener to the one bottle. Shake it up. And then I put it in a paint tray. And I get foam rollers. Foam rollers like that. And I roll it on. And then the parts where I can't get the roller, you just use a paintbrush and dop it around till you get the same effect. So I'm going to start doing that. All painted. Come up pretty good. So you've got to paint these. I want to paint these red. People probably won't like that, some people, but each to their own. I want to paint them red. Currently packing the bearings with grease and put the dust seal in there. Pack a bearing, you pretty much got to get a whole heap of grease and pack it, force it into the bearing. You'll see it'll start to come out the little rollers. It's a messy job. Now you want it up firm, just like your trailer bearings, always back it off a touch. So I hope that helps everyone. This video could have been 2 hours long. There was a lot. I just sort of tried to cut it out, keep the basic stuff, show you what's involved in making something like this. They are pretty easy. There's other little things like you could make a stopper for it, so I didn't, like put a latch on it so it locks. I didn't bother doing that. I put some rubber on here just to stop it metal on metal. Keeps the arm nice and secure. But yeah guys, the other thing, I didn't put any lights on it. You might have seen the lights in some of the videos, but I actually didn't end up putting them on. Mainly because I didn't like how they sat there. Maybe if you put some smaller ones, but I haven't had an issue. The only thing I got to do still is really got to do a number plate light, but I'm just going to run some tubing up to a light, put it under here, just the same thing, even zip tie it or whatever, doesn't have to be too great, just a light. But that's the end of this video.